guys. It is me, ReveDraws. Welcome to ReveDraws. This is where I stream my art to Twitch and to YouTube. Those on YouTube's VOD. Hi, YouTube. Here's where I share story times with you all. While I draw, if you're wondering, why does my stream say first stream again? My tired ass unfortunately unchecked VOD saving feature in Twitch. Let's have a moment of silence for that. All right. All right. As I said before, my name is ReveDraws, and I am a webtoon artist who created the series Karu on Tapas and Webtoon. And I am also on Global Comics now. The story tells of factual events in my college years, which Karu is me. Karu's based off of me, basically. And like last time, like I said, I'm 5'1". I am vertically challenged, and I've come to terms with that. I am a June Gemini for all you horoscope girlies and guys, and I'm a 90s baby through and through. And my favorite color is royal blue. Now, this story time is about Karu and her friend. Karu and her friend's first Comic-Con. All right. Now, this story time starts in 2016. Starts in 2016. Now, mind you, these events, if you read my webtoon, these happened a little between chapter 13 of my webtoon. For the sake of confidentiality, for the sense of confidentiality, I'm not going to use their real names, so I'm going to use their webtoon counterparts' name. Okay? Like I said, 2016, the gang was all hanging out in Tomoe's student apartment. Katsu was a little nervous. Katsu was a little tad bit nervous about asking everyone to accompany him to the Comic-Con in New York City at the time. Now, Karu looked at his nervous expression and said, "What's wrong? What's on your mind?" Katsu was a little nervous, like I said before, and he said, "I was wondering, would you all like to go to to the NYC Comic Con this year?" Now, mind you, he was really, really nervous because we were his first true friends, if that makes sense. Now he was like, "That sounds fun." Poppy was Poppy said agreed. Liam was like, "I'm free," and Allie said, "Yeah." Cus's eyes widened in hope and joy when Allie replied. Katsu said, "I was thinking about asking one of you girls to join the contest with me. Mind you, Rumiko's reading a book called Someone to Love Me from the Blueford series. If you know the series, shout out your favorite book from the Blueford series." Alright, let's get back to it. Rumiko pulls down her book. Now, Rumiko pulls down her book. Because, she felt something was off. Felt a little suspicion. As she usually does. But, dress this moment in time, she said, all right, why do I sense I'm about to be dragged into something? Side note, we usually drag her into something that she does not want. We force her to participate, but as time goes on and I tell the stories, you'll see that too. During this time, Tomoe went to his car to get something. Mind you. When he came back into his apartment, Poppy opened up his laptop and went to the Amazon site. And Tomoe said, "Poppy, get the hell off my laptop." Poppy said, "You're no fun." Now Karu said, "We are all saying we're all going to New York Comic Con this year." Tomoe said, "Give me an excuse to get give me an excuse to get attention from my parents, especially my mother." He Tomoe takes off his shoes. Allie said, "You hate your parents, specifically your mother, a lot." Tomoe said, "What the bitch?" Tomoe also said, what were you trying to look up on Amazon?" And Poppy said, "Well, Rumiko volunteered. She volunteered." And he said, "Volunteer for what?" "Rumiko volunteered to be a cosplay model for a competition with Katsu." Someone was like, "What is she cosplaying as?" Katsu said, "I think we should have her cosplay." "I don't know yet." And then he looked at Karu, and Karu looked at Katsu, and they all said, "Urza Scarlet." Now, mind you, Rumiko does not read manga, not alone watch the show, so confused, but all the way around confused. So I had to look up who Rosa Scarlet, not Rosa, who Urza Scarlet was, mind you. And then Tomoe looked at her like, someone looked at Rumiko and shook his head. And then Allie was confused, like, why are you shaking your head? And Tomoe said, no reason. Like, no reason. Side note, Tomoe loves, he's in love with her. Like, it's obvious, but it's not obvious to her. But Tomoe said, what do you have in mind? Now, Katsu literally pulled up a cosplay, basically, Eartha. For those who ever watch Fairy Tale or read Fairy Tale, you know how Urza's always in a bunny girl suit. Well, Katsu looked that up. And Kaoru was shocked, but not shocked because, you know, Urza Scarlet. For those who, like I said, for those who watched and read Fairy Tale, you already know. She was a girly girl, but she also fought back. But like I said, she pulled up. He like I said, Matsu pulled up the Urza Bunny Girl suit basically on Google. Katsu Katsu was just marveling at it because, you know, it fit her. But Tomoe was like, hey, send me the link. Tomoe snatched his laptop, snatched his MacBook back. I meant to say yeah. Snatched it back. And opened up, he snatched it back, opened up his messages. As he opened up his message, he looked at Rumiko and looked her up and down. Rumiko was saying, why are you looking me up and down? Why are you looking me up and down? Poppy grabbed his MacBook again. She grabbed his MacBook again. Ali and Karu took it out of his hand. They took it out of his hand. It was hilarious. Took it out of his hand. And then Poppy showed Rumiko. So So after Rumiko, after Poppy showed that to Rumiko, you know, Rumiko was shocked at what she saw. Like, you want me to wear this? Are you serious right now? Are you serious? You really want me to wear that? Now, knowing Karu, she says, yeah, that's what we want you to wear. Katsu was scared, basically. He was really scared. He was like, I don't know if she'll like it or not. I could tell he was thinking it because he has a tendency of showing his emotions when he's nervous. But you know, Aoi was like, it fits you. It fits you perfectly. And it did, and it really did fit her perfect. She had like the perfect body for it. That's the scary part. She has the perfect body for it. Tall. She was tall. Like it was like it was perfect. And as I said, Ali said, you have the perfect body to pull it off. Everyone was like, mm-hmm. And then, you know, Rumiko can't say no to anyone. Doesn't know how to say no to anyone. She doesn't know how to say no to anyone. And it's that. You know what? I thought I was going to use a chain. I'm not going to chain. I thought I was going to use a chain. I'm not using a chain. You know, I may use a chain. I may use a chain, but no, I'm not. I know myself. They always say, trust your instincts, bro. Trust your instincts. What's this? Trust your instincts. But, you know, but knowing her, what's going on? Oh, no wonder. But, you know, knowing her, uh, you know, knowing her, she can't. The thing is, well, I guess she may come off. Well, I guess Rumiko may come off mean, but she's a sweetheart. She's a really big. She's a sweetheart, and she's a really big sweetheart. She was like, "I can't say no to that face. I can't say no to that face. It's so. I can't say no to that face. He's so happy." And, you know, Katsu was so happy that he hugged her. Everybody was like, "What?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" She thing is, she's not used to people randomly hugging her. She got real confused. She didn't know if she was. Her face was very confused. It was hilarious. And then she, like I said, like she didn't say it out loud, but her face was like, I can't say no to that face. Say no to him. He's too adorable. And then she hugged back. And then Allie, I know, Allie is an art student. She went to school for fashion and design. So she grabbed. Let me be nice. She didn't particularly grab her. Grab is a strong term. She led her into his bathroom. So she said, all right, Rumiko, let me measure you. And measured her, and Allie said, Allie looked like, did she just take a measuring tape out of her, did she just take measuring tape out of her purse? And Allie looked at him like, she just gave him that look like, yeah, what of it? That's the, she gave him the yeah, what of it look. But she said, I'm going to school for fashion design. Sue me. She said, sue me. But as they both went into the bathroom. Now, mind you, this is his apartment, but at the same time, he's a gentleman. He wants people. Because Allie was like, "No peeking," and Tom was like, "Why would I?" And then Rumiko chimed in saying, "Allie, it's okay. He knows what I'll do to him." And Tomoe was like, I would love to live a long life." And Rumiko was like, "Good." Allie started Allie started to measure. After that, Allie started to measure Rumiko. We all looked at the link. We all looked at it. I repeat, we all looked at the link that Katsu sent to Tomoe. Allie and Liam crowded around crowded around his MacBook and looked at him and said, "Buy it, man." Karu. Am I Karu? Funny enough, Karu and Poppy just laughed because I never seen someone say "buy it, man" so fast. Like, "Buy it, man." Like they were literally saying "buy it, man" multiple times. As they said, "Buy it, man, buy it." And then Alex said, "We're back." And then Rumiko was saying like, "I like the design, but I've never worn a bunny suit before. So it's the first time for everything." And then she shrugged. And then she smiled. And then Tomoe looked at his MacBook again. He looked at his MacBook again. And he thought about what the guy said. He said, "I'll buy it." He said, "I'll buy it." Allie and Karu looked at his expression like, "Oh, he meant that." And Allie is no better. Because she literally said, Allie was like, mentally, I know she was thinking, he's going to do it. Karu said it out loud. "I know the eyes of a man. I know the eyes of a determined man. A determined man. When I see one, I know the eyes of a determined man when I see one." I understand. I've seen that. I've seen the eyes of a determined man too, but Rumiko was looking like, "Would he really be buying this for me? I don't know. I don't want to impose on him, you guys." And Carter was like, "Girl, that man's about to buy that for free. Shut up. Shut up." She's like, "But," Carter's like, shut up." He's buying that for, he said he's gonna buy that for you for free. At the time, it was like 30 something dollars. I said, girl, you want to pay $30? Carl was like, you want to pay $30 for that? You really want to pay $30 for that? I'm gonna let you think long and hard for that. She thought long and hard. And she's like, you don't let him buy it. I said, wise choice. Now, Poppy giggled at the fact that, Carl was trying to be funny. She was just being realistic. If a man says he's gonna buy something, take it. You have to have good intention. Then you got good intention. But Rumiko was like, okay, I'll let him buy it. And then Carl was like, oh. And then told me, I asked, what's your size? I said, oh, I'm a medium. And then Allie chimed in saying, if you ever need me to tailor it, I don't mind doing it. And that's when Rumiko was like, okay, that's fine. And then Poppy was like, yeah, leave makeup and heels to moi. And this is how you know I'm old. And it's how you know all of us are in our 30s. Because at the time, Rumiko said, oh God, I feel like a startle. I feel like a startle now. And Kara said, good, that's the plan. And then Poppy said, let's get back before the line gets long at the cab. And Carl was like, I agree. And Allie said, who knows what dessert they'll have this time. And then Rumiko was like, and Cara said, knowing you. She said, knowing you. Girl, stop saying cheesecake like that. You sound like a damn girl. I said, shut up. You know you like cheesecake as much as I do. I said, yeah, but sound a little strange, sweetheart. That's all I'm saying. A little strange, sweetheart. A little strange, sweetheart. I'm just saying. And then, as we were all saying bye to, as we were all saying goodbye, we were leaving Tomoe's student apartment. Katsu came with us, actually. Also, when Katsu works with computers, so he's the tech guy. He's one of the tech guys who works on campus, who works with the laptop. He fixes them, finds what's wrong. He's the tech guy, basically, like the little tech guy. He was the youngest one out of the bunch. So as Poppy, as Karu, Allie, Poppy, and Rumiko and Tatsu left, Tomoe and Aoi and Liam waved by because thing is they live in the same student apartment. The others live in the normal dorm. Now, as they left, Haru got a text from Aoi, which was hilarious. Healing. it's hilarious. It's very hilarious. Basically, what happened is that when they were texting, Cara texted him so Toei was so determined that she said, "Wow, he was so determined to do this." And then I took a picture of him. Basically, took a picture of him buying it for her, which it's. And then Allie was wondering who Cara was texting. Cara was like, "Oh, I'm texting Allie." And then she showed Allie text. She bust out laughing. And then Poppy was like, "What's funny? I want to know what's funny." Rumiko was like, "You can find out what's funny after we get back to campus. Drive." The girl, if you don't drive, then hey, don't that taking you to campus. And then Rumiko was like, "Yeah, you're taking us to campus, but I'm also dragged into something. And now I'm dragged into something. I need I need snacks." And Carl was like, "You don't need snacks, girl. You need to relax. You're just stressed out from your one exam, and you don't know how to channel your you don't know how to channel your anxiety very well." Oh yeah, I forgot to add. You see, Rumiko, when we were in college, she was going towards being like a nurse, registered nurse, or a pharmacist. Either or. Knowing her, she gets both. That's the kind of girl she is. She's always been a hard worker. And then, Katsu said when they were in the car that, well, to be honest with you, Tomoe actually likes you. It's pretty obvious he has a thing for you. Really obvious. He has it. He has a crush on you. And it's so bad. I feel sorry for him sometimes. He said, and I feel sorry for him. I was like, damn. I said, I was like, damn. If our adorable nerd feels bad for him, that means he is definitely, most definitely, if he's feeling sorry for him, there's definitely a problem, I'm like, whoa. I'm like, whoa. You really haven't. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Um, but yeah, it's funny to me but yeah, that's funny. If he says something, something's wrong. But to me, deep down, I have a feeling that she knew that he liked him, that he liked her, but she kind of played in denial to it. But next time, on my next story time, it just depends. I may go into how I met everyone. But I'm still thinking about that story time. If I may go into how Karu met everyone. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I may do. What? I put it in the wrong spot. That's okay. I put it in the wrong spot again. But hey. But as as the car drive went on, she went back to reading. But knowing her, she thought I was a pay. She thought Cara was a pay attention, but she was blushing and as she was hiding it behind that book. Hmm. But you know, as they got to campus, well, once they got to campus, they dropped Katsu off in front of the tech building, around where the tech building. It basically they parked. She parked in student parking behind one of the old dorms, and she um then she let him out, and he went to his job. Not little, and then they went basically when they got back to campus. They went to the cafe and they ate, but Katsu was like, "I'm hungry. Let me eat with you guys," and he did. But you know, after that, after we ate, they left. You know, or he left and he went to work. Now, Allie and Poppy went to not Car not they went to Rumiko's room, and as Allie and Poppy were sitting on her bed, she had her door open. Now, mind you, like I said, now mind you, Poppy and Allie and Poppy knew her roommate. They knew her because Poppy even said it herself. Beware of her and her friend. Allie said, seriously, believe it or not, that girl's obsessed with someone. And Poppy was like very unhinged. And then Carl was like, ignore her, by the way. She's just mad Tomoe comes and hangs out with you. And Rumiko was like, hard to find ways to get on my nerves. But Allie was like, but you haven't told him to leave you alone. Rumiko's like, beside that. Mm-hmm. Carl's like, mm-hmm. It's stupid if you want. But Rumiko was like, besides that. She said it so fast, like, besides that. And Carl said, be confident in your body. And And then, Poppy said, Kara's right. She said, I wish I had your body. And Rumiko was like, are you want my body? She said, you have such a curvy body. I'm jealous of it. And then, Rumiko said straight off the bat, soul food, desserts, and genetics. And Kara laughed. And then Rumiko tells them, I'm originally from South Carolina. I'm a Charleston native, so I seafood, soul food, and my nana makes all kind of desserts. Allie and Poppy said, I'm jealous. Rumiko's like, desserts and seafood lovers? Allie and Poppy said, dessert and seafood lovers. Oh man. And Allie was like, oh man. And then, Allie was like, and then Poppy was like, oh, Allie and Poppy just basically bolted out of her room and went back to their dorm room. And then funny story. And Karu said, well, Rumi, you had an interesting day, no? And basically goes said, don't remind me of my day. Like, don't remind me of my day. And then Karu told her, hey, he said, hey, be happy someone loves you, Rumi. And then Carl was surprised when what she said. Did I know he loves me? And she was like, oh, so Carl in the back of her mind, she was like, so she's been mentally aware of this. She just wanted to act like he didn't she wanted to act like she didn't love him. So that was made her a little tinge mad. And then Rumiko got the nerve to say, you're being a little too optimistic for my taste. And then Carl was like, bye. A few days passed. Tomari bought her package. All the girls were surprised. Girls on campus. All the girls were surprised when he came over to her dorm and handed her package. Girls looked at her like, oh my god, oh my god, it's Tomoe. I wonder what he's doing over here on campus. This is all mumbles that Karu heard. Like, what's he doing on campus today? And then he walks over and gives Rumiko her package, and she said thank you. The girls glared at her. Rumiko turned her head, and they were like, they all looked at her with like it was like mean mugging glares. Rumiko turned her head, and they got scared and scurried like rats. But oh, they do that all the time. Those girls did that a lot, but who cares? It was D-Day. Allie took pictures of Rumiko in her cosplay and sent it to Tomoe. Karu said, don't make him cause an accident. And Poppy said, there the boys are. Carter said he looks uneasy. Ali said he wants to see her in that exclusively. Poppy was like, I know, right? The nerd the nerds and the onlookers were marveling at her cosplay. As they marveled at her cosplay, everyone eye color, everyone was thinking all the friends that were there, they were all marveled at their eye colors. They're like, oh, they can't be real. Now mind you, as the contest began, Rumiko got on stage. Basically, she got on stage and she started doing poses and all that stuff. And then Tatsu posted, he cosplayed as Link, and a few others went up too. Now, mind you, it was everyone other than Tatsu's first time being at a Comic Con, and seeing all the sights, seeing all the cosplays, like seeing the cosplays, all that was amazing for all of us. Now, mind you, Karu is a big anime fan through and through. She's been reading it, she's been watching it, all that good stuff. So, once she got the chance to go to one, she was like, yay! My fellow nerds, where are you at? My fellow weebs, where are you at? Like, oh, yeah. So, she was like, yeah, where are my fellow nerds? But I digress. But as it was going on, I said on Karu. Karu is based off of me, and that I have ADHD. Yeah, I got easily distracted for a while because it took too long for me in my taste. Because I was like, okay, now I'm gonna need you guys to get this together now. Y'all taking too long. Because come to find out at the time, you know, as this thing was getting together, you know how, well, today we call them Karen. We had this Karen who was making a big fuss saying, why are all these kids, oh, why are you all adults here? My son's here. And you're dressing, and you're dressing so provocatively. Like you have some sense. And wear something appropriately. Now, mind you, as I said, I'm gonna tell more stories, but I'm gonna tell it from the beginning. This story right here is just, a freebie. But basically, Rumiko lived in Philly majority of her life. So in her back of her mind, she's thinking this lady is getting on her nerves, and she clenched up her fist. I said, "Hey, don't clench up your fist. I don't have time. No one has time getting you off this lady." Because yes, we dealt with a whole Karen there because her son was there. She didn't want her son seeing all that, but I'm like, there are different sections, man. I'm gonna need you to read because reading is so fundamental. Clearly not that day because she thought that was over. She thought yelling at a bunch of 20-year-olds like we're kids is okay. Joke's on her. Cause that lady thought she was in the right. Wow. Mind you, the person who did the contest said, ma'am, look where you are and look at the section. It says kids section is down there. So I would love for you to please move and get out the way so we can start this. She's like, you don't have to be rude to me. And then one of the judges said, then don't interrupt us because you don't know how to read. I can't say the word. It got into a whole argument, but basically, reading is fundamental. But also, I think she was also jealous of Rumiko and how perfect that cosplay was. Like, it looked really nice on her. And I think it was more she was jealous of her body and how, like I said, how good she looked in it. And the thing is, and another thing is this too. And then another Karen. Well, not really a Karen. I forgot who it was. I can't think of the word, the nickname, the crazy nicknames we give these people now. But basically, she was trying to police her. And then another one tried to police her, saying, you know, I don't know why you're cosplaying as a Scarlet. You're not even. He was just saying, you don't even, like, you can fit the part. And then I had to chime in. Well, not I. Haru had to chime in a little bit and be like, hey, leave this girl alone. Like, hey, leave her alone. She hasn't done anything to you. Hey, leave her alone. She hasn't done anything to you. All she did was be quiet and mind her business. Leave her alone. I said, leave her. Haru literally said, leave her alone. She's minding her black business. She hasn't done anything to you, ma'am. All she's done is just stay quiet and be nice and not say anything to you. So with all due respect, please get away from us and please get away from me. Because I really am having fun at. Because I really had to tell her, I'm really having a lot of fun here today, man. And I really did not come here today to air out a insecure woman today. It is not my fault. She told her, it is not my fault that you're insecure about how you feel about yourself. And you also should be an example for your child over there. Because the way you're acting right now is teaching that child you're not being a good, let's put it like this. I basically said, you know what, you're not being a good example right now. You're supposed to be an example for your child, right? And she said, you don't know anything about me. And Carl was like, well, I don't. But you're clearly acting like a spoiled brat. And you're acting like a spoiled brat. And you can't say that, and you definitely cannot say that you're basically you cannot say that, oh, I'm fine, and you're like, oh well, you know, don't worry about me. It's like, well, don't worry about me. I got me. I said, I bet you do, man. I said, I bet. He said, I bet you do. Because clearly, you say you got you, but ma'am, look at yourself. What are we doing? As Carl would always say, what are we doing in this? What are you doing? What are we doing? Because then she had to think about it long and hard. Don't she said, you know what, I'm not doing this today. She ignored her. She kept on ranting until, you know, someone stepped in and said, "Your B." This is one of the words that is not supposed to be said on YouTube. He called her. He called her the C word that we're not supposed to say on. He called her the C word. On YouTube we call it the C word. Called her that. Called her the C word. And I was like, okay, now. Harper was shocked. She had him on the back and said, I'm so proud. I never thought you'd call him that. And he looked at her like, what's supposed to mean? And Carter's like, no, we kind of give off. I grew up in a rich household. She said, you kind of give up. I grew up in a rich household. I I grew up rich, but I'm also reserved. But I am extremely reserved. He said, yeah, you're not wrong. I said, exactly. I know I'm not wrong. I'm telling the truth. Yes. I guess. Mm-hmm. So you're very reserved. So that may be true that I'm very reserved. But other than that, let's get this thing on the road. And then Carl whispered in his ear, are you sure you want to get on the road for what you think it is? He thought about what she said and he blushed and said, shut up. And she's like, and walked off to Allie. And Allie looked at her like, why did you do that to him? And then she said, you act like you wouldn't do it either. He said, yeah, you're right, I would. I said, exactly. It's okay to pick at your partner in crime every once in a while. Yes. And yes. Aoi and Tomoe's real life counterparts are partners in crime. If one's not there, it all goes down. But yes, they are really partners in crime. They're true partners in crime. It's hilarious. It really is hilarious. I forgot to put this in here. This sucks. But yes. Mm-hmm. Partner in crime. And, after the judge's fight, he said, other than, like that young man said, who was a C word that we can't say on YouTube. Let's get this up. Let's get this going. Soured my mood. Hey, he mumbled under his breath. We're going to the after party after this. I'm getting all the drinks. Carl was like, I want to drink, doesn't he? And then I was like, I would want to drink too. That woman was being too unreasonable for no reason. And Carl was like, yeah, true. Who knows? And that's what she said. And the Carl was like, hey, you want to go out drinking after this? Well, later on tonight anyways. I was like, okay, I'm down. I'll see if everybody else wants to do it. But, as the contest went on and it ended, ironically enough, Rumiko got first place and Katsu came in second. Now, this is how you know he was happy and it was hilarious. He was happy and it was really hilarious because as they congratulated her for winning, Tomoe picked her up in a princess hold. Rumiko was so confused. Her face showed it all. She didn't know if she was so confused. She didn't know if she was supposed to hit him. It was a funny and confused face. As the person who mentioned it first was Aoi, and I was like, Aoi, don't mention it. He said, what? She does look confused. She was confused as hell. I was like, yeah, I know. I know she's confused. But just give it, and Carl's like, just give it a few seconds. She'll get out of the confusion. She'll get out of the confusion. Just give it a few seconds. Give it a few seconds to a minute. It will register and she won't hit it. And then I was like, how so? She's not gonna hit him. She's just confused that he picked her up. No man has ever picked her up before. But, Tara chuckled about it. I walked over. And then, out of nowhere, I was back with popcorn in hand. It was I think it was popcorn and candy. And said, well, that's pretty simple, actually. Tomoe was too happy for his own good. But he was so happy for it. He didn't pay attention to himself. He didn't pay attention to his surroundings. So he got happy and lifted her. And then Poppy was like, even though he has feelings for her, he has a soft spot for her. And Carl was like, that's good. And then Carl just basically, and then, Carl just thought about it and said, it's a very good moment. Happy. She's so happy. I would love her to stay this way as long as God allows it. Because she walked over saying, I won. And Kara said, yeah, girl, you won. I told you you have a nice body for it. And then the announcer of the contest gave her a trophy, a sash, and told her if you have friends, you can go to the after party later that night. So she said, I don't want to go to an after party. Carter grabbed her. Aoi grabbed her and said, we're going. They mumbled in her ear, we're going to that after party. There is no answer buts about it. That's free alcohol. And Rumiko said, I don't want to hear that coming from you two. Damn alcoholics. And Carl was like, I am not an alcoholic. He's an alcoholic. A functioning one of that. He said, that's even worse. I said, look. And Carl's like, look, I just want you to be honest with me. You know you want to go to this after party. You're just afraid. Afraid of the fact that you don't know what's going to happen. it's okay to be scared. And it's okay to come to terms with the fact that after all that's happened to you so far, after all this happened, okay, you're going to be alright. Worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So don't worry. She said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. What you need to worry about is the here and the now. And Rumiko's like, you're right. You are right. I should worry about the here and the now. Worry about the here and the now. And I said, exactly. And she said, and Carl said, exactly. And as she said that, Rumiko got a bigger smile on her face. And as she, said all that, but as she smiled, other people were congratulating her. They were congratulating her, saying, congratulations, congratulations. And she was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Someone was happy for her. But as we walked on, Tatsu was like, we should go to the booths. Sometimes they have voice actors here. And Carl was like, okay, cool. Chundi is here this year. The name that I never thought I would hear in my life. Steve Bloom. Yes. Carl. Yes, me. I met Steve Bloom at that Comic-Con that year. We took pictures with them. Carl and the gang took pictures with them. Jokes on me, jokes on Karu, because Katsu was so happy he forgot to send it to everyone. He was so happy about the whole day that he forgot to send the pictures. It's hilarious. It's on my old phone, but for the life of me. But yeah, he forgot it. It took like a week later for him to click to him that he went to the Comic-Con and that he took the pictures. It was adorable but funny. It really was adorable and funny that he forgot about it. Hilarious. Because it was, Subway said, hey, are you going to give us those pictures yet? It's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot to give it to you guys. I didn't mean to. I was like, it's okay, sweetie. You're happy. Send it to us at any time you feel like it. He was like, okay, but I'm sorry, you guys. I mean it. Like, you don't gotta apologize to them. You don't gotta apologize. You were happy, and there's nothing wrong with that. You were happy, but you were just happy. And there's nothing wrong with being happy. That's the thing. There's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, he was so happy about the situation, about being there. I digress. And as we were getting, we were getting that, we were also getting souvenirs. Now, mind you, as I was getting this, as I was getting when I was getting that autograph, I had Digi in mind, Digi came to mind. Guess what? The man was not available. I was like, oh well, he about to miss out on this once in a lifetime opportunity of seeing him. So, whatever. But yeah, I was like, whatever. It's missing. But later on, I told him that I did go, and he was like, "Oh man, I didn't know. This sucks. I didn't even pay attention to my phone, but I was like." But yes, I got an autograph from him. We spoke to him. I forgot who else. But after that, you know, we walked around. We got we got a few more autographs. We bought a whole bunch. Well, Allie bought a whole bunch of plushies back, and I was like, "You don't need all them damn plushies." Rubico saw a few cute bears, and I was like, "You don't need any more plushies. You got enough at the house." Man. Now, no, Carl's been to her house on multiple occasions since friends, but she has. Let's put it like this: Rumco has too many plushies, too many to count. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, that girl has so many plushies. It was like it. It was so bad that at one point Carl said, "You might have to donate these after you leave from college." So I'm not donating my stuff. I refuse to donate anything of mine. I was like, "Sweetie, you gotta donate some of this stuff." She said, "I'm not donating anything." I was like, "Okay, bitch. Okay, bitch. Don't donate it, bitch. Sheesh. Get up with my face. Sheesh. Don't get up in my face, girl. Don't donate." But in Poppy's case, knowing Poppy, she saw that stuff and said, "It's so cute. I just want one." And Liam was like, it's not funny, but Liam is in love with, he is like madly in love with her. It's really cute. Their little romance is so cute, but that romance that is for another story for another. He was just he. I gotta go. I gotta go into that story another day, but he actually bought her that plushie. She bought some stuff. Poppy bought some stuff too, but Liam bought it for her because he wanted to. And Poppy was like, he said, "I want to." And I told her the same thing. Well, not I. Kara told her the same thing and said, "I know the eyes of a determined man. Let that man buy it. Please. All due respect, Poppy. Just let him buy it. He'll feel better. I swear, he will feel better once you let him buy it." He was like, "No, he won't." I said, "Yeah." He's like, yes, he will. He'll feel so much better." Oh, seriously? I did not do that. Okay. But yes. Mm-hmm. I got in there. I got in there, but whatever. But yeah. But yeah, he bought her that. He was over the moon. He said, "I can't believe he bought it for me." And, you know, Allie and Carl were like, "We're not." Like, what's that supposed to mean? And that's when she said, honey, Liam likes you, and it's bad. It's real bad. He likes you a lot. He likes you a lot. Liam likes you a lot. He likes you a lot. So much, I wouldn't be surprised if he bought you any plushie you want out of here. And then Poppy was like, are you sure that, wait, that'll work? And Carl was like, don't you even think about it. Fine. Even think about it. Good. I'm glad you understand that. Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, it's true. He likes you. Oh, he loves you a lot. And one of these days, I just hope you reciprocate his feelings. And that's when she said, he's not a bad guy. He's really sweet. I said, I know he's sweet. Sweeter than most. Just don't drag him along. I want to ask that you don't drag him. That would be very, very mean. Just drag him along like he loves you more than you know. And he loves you a lot. And this is just me. I said, this is just me speaking, but that man loves you. I digress. And then Allie just, looked at Gatsu as he was just happy. And then Cora was like, look how happy he is. She said, I know. And that's when Cora said, I don't think he's ever had friends before. And that's when Allie said, I can tell. I can tell every friend he ever had was not his real friend. He probably took advantage of him. They probably took advantage of him. Which, let's be real, they did. He's a nerd, and everybody takes advantage of a nerd. Nerds. But yes, he was not treated right. And in his eyes, he actually found real friends. And a love interest at the same time. I found a love interest. And that love interest is Ellie. Yes, Katsu loves Ellie. Well, let me just phrase that. Love is a strong word. He's infatuated with her. But he is healthy infatuation, if that makes sense. It's infatuation, but it's healthy infatuation. So, no stalker. So, no stalker vibes over here. It's healthy, but yeah, it's a healthy obsession, not an unhealthy. healthy. Really shouldn't. But to be honest with you, deep down, Allie liked him too. Allie liked him well. And I could tell. It was very evident that. It's very evident that, you know, he liked her. She liked him. You know? And to be honest with you, if they ever got together, I would approve of it. But back to him being happy. He was so happy. Kid you not. Let me tell you how funny he is. Now, as everyone was getting like plushies and all that stuff, we left, we walked off for a bit. We said, hey, we're gonna go to such stall, such stall, da da da. This man had the bright idea. I kid you not. Had the bright idea to think, okay, I'll see you at such and such place. We'll meet up here. When we met up with him again, this man was nowhere to be found. So, he was nowhere to be found. One, where to be found. Two, his phone went to voicemail. So, we're over here like, where is this boy? Come to find out, he had bags on bags, anime merch, so, 2 or 3 signatures, and food. We were like, where are you? Where are you? He said, oh, you guys didn't see me? I'm at the food court. We all looked so mad with him. Because we were like, we were looking for you. Where did you go? Like, where did you go? You can't be drifting and not telling us. And then you wouldn't listen. He said, well, because my phone died. You don't bring a charger with you? And he said, I have my charger. It's just that I can't reach it right now because of all the stuff I have. We looked at that look. Carter had a look in her eye. Give him grace, you guys. Give him grace. Give him grace, you guys. Not around. He's having too much fun. We gotta give him grace this time. We're like, fine, we'll give him grace. Like, good. And Carter said, good. He said, good. We're gonna give him grace. So with all that to say, let's get going let's get going. Now mind you, we the 8 of us all stayed in an apartment. Not an apartment, in a hotel that weekend. So we all went back to the we all went back to the basically we all went back to the hotel we were staying in. We laughed. We laughed about the fact that we could not find him. Find Katsu. We couldn't find him for the life of us. One, we could not find him. Two, how we got hit on by anime girls, which that kills Karu more than anything. She was like, "You got hit on by nerds, by anime." He said they wouldn't leave me alone. They kept on asking me, "Are your eyes really gold?" He said, "Yes, I was born with these colored eyes." "Are you sure they're not contacts?" He said, "Yes, they're not contacts. Leave me alone, please." He whined he just kept whining. And all Kara could do was just shake her head. And knowing the person, how Kara was towards him, she said, "Get over here." He said, "What about how I feel?" And then Rumiko put her book down. She was reading that same book. She reread it and she said, "If you don't get a hold of your damn self and sit down somewhere and act like you got some sense." I always say, "Yes, ma'am." "Stop calling me ma'am." "Stop calling me ma'am." "Do right." Eesh. And then Karo asked her, "Why are you reading the same book all over again?" She said, "Because it's really good and I love the series." And then Karo says, "So basically you just reread the series all the books at once. Every once in a while or every once in a blue moon." She said, "Yep, fine. Okay, I can see it." What's that supposed to mean? What? There's nothing wrong with you rereading your book. There's nothing wrong with that. There isn't anything wrong with rereading a book. That's okay. But yeah. But yes, it was that funny. But sit down like you got some sense. And they were like, "Ooh, you got her, man." You're like, "Shut up, man." Like, "Shut up. Leave me alone." And then, and then Rumiko got the nerve to say, "Get your man." Not Carl. Rumiko said, "Carl, get your man." She was like, "That's not mine. That's not my man. I am not dating anyone. I'm not dating anyone right now. Not a soul." And And that's from because are you sure about that? I'll see. I'm very sure. You know what? Ooh. Which, you know what? I just thought about it. You know, something. That's. You know, I'm feeling lucky today. I'm gonna make her have an ivory, almost an ivory color. Or a beige. I might make her have a beige purse. Now I'm quiet, you guys. I'm trying to get this color scheme. Well, yes, this is my favorite part to do. Those are the hardest one because it's like I have colors in mind. I have palettes. Don't get it twisted. I have palettes. It's just that getting that right color. It's like really, really hard. Get that one, if that makes sense. We're gonna do it like this. Always hard to get that one thing right. It just aggravates my poor little soul to its greatest degree. So I'm like, ah, like why does this have to happen to me? You see, like this is not supposed to happen to me. This is supposed to happen to me. This is supposed to happen to me. And oh, this sucks. Oh, That's what's happening to me at all. But yes, bring together two. So, guys, if I do not finish this today, I will finish this. I will go into another part on Friday. If I don't finish this today, I'll go into another part on. But Get to her shoes. Car's down. You got a costume for her too. This is no fun for me. And also, guys, I'm sorry I meant to just wait 5 to 10 minutes, but I was already. That's why I just went straight into it. But yes. Well, yes, I do like doing. Well, yes, I do like doing the art. Like I said last time, coloring this in is my favorite part. But catch is that you gotta find the colors that will correspond with. I'm trying to do fall colors, at least some type of fall color. Good thing is, any fall color will correspond with this one. Her. Real good. Uh, but yeah, Remika scolded Howie. Don't want to just look because he was like, I've been there before. I've been that person. I don't mess with her like she'll yell at me too. And Carl in the back of her mind was like, treating them like stepkids. Like she's treating them like they're her own kids. That's what my fear was. Because she talks to them. My fear was that the way she would talk to them. Carl's fear was that, Carl and my fear is that she's going to talk to them like they're her kids. That was my fear. That our fears. Because I can only imagine she was raised differently than what they're accustomed to. They weren't raised like. So she tells them to shut up and sit down. Like a black mother, like a black mother, and look at them crazy, like an old black auntie would. Actually, that's actually how she treated them. Both of them actually, she would literally talk. We usually give a pep talk like, "Act like you got some sense, please. Act like you got some." She would say it like that. Act like you have. It's either act like you got some sense, or act like you have some damn sense. Don't you go out. Funny enough, prior to going to the Comic Con, she literally sat those two down respectively and said, "Now, I need you to act like you have some damn sense. Do that for me, and I won't be angry, and I will not say anything to you for the rest of the ride and at the Comic Con. And then we're fine." Carl looked at her and said, "Did you just treat them like they're your kids?" I said, "No, I didn't." Carl said, "Yes, you did. You just treated them like they were your kids." But yes, treat them like your own kids. So so you could only imagine. So yeah, you can only imagine. But yeah, she talked to them like that, and I was very concerned. Actually, we both were concerned. And after that, Carl was like, you know what? I'm gonna leave that one. That had nothing to do with me. Let me mind my business. We gonna mind our business. Ironically enough, after she spoke to them like that, Carl just found out that one of her favorite series, crazy enough, Fairy Tale actually had an update the week before, and she read it. So, so you can only imagine her surprise when she went into the door and everybody was just congratulating. Everybody was just, congratulating her on her cosplay or whatever, saying, "Oh my god, it looks so cool." But I digress. Let's go back to when they were at the hotel. Rubiko basically laid out on her she laid out on the bed and said, "I'm getting out of this. I'm changing out of this. Leave out of this bloody rock." But she said, "I don't like how it feels on me. You take it off now." And out of reflex, she's used to being around Karu. She's so comfortable being around them that she almost pulled it off. And Karu's like, "No, no, no, not here. Not in front of them." She was like, "What do you mean? Leave?" Rumiko looked around and said, "Leave." Because she's about to peel it off in front of them. I was like, you guys gotta leave. I was a little too comfortable. Leave. And the funny thing is, Liam was like, "Can't look at her. I don't care how much you like her. We're leaving." The fact that Liam grabbed Toei and said, "I know you want to see it. Or one of these days, if you get your chance, you may get her." Let me. Why did I even check my stuff? So let me. I thought I had it open. I don't. Why are you doing this to me? That I don't need that right now. Oh, thank you. I need to reply, but thank you so much. But I will say this. But yeah, she almost took her buddy girl out suit off in front of them. Cara and Allie looked at them like, "Leave." Don't get too comfortable. Leave. Follow Liam. Liam's trying to save your lives. Leave. But yes, he literally. Somebody was like, then he saw, then he saw Rubico's shy expression that he left. I thought I was gonna do fall colors, but it's my illustration. Do whatever I want. Actually, you know what? Let me do one better. Let's find a fall palette. I probably have one. Or you know what? We gonna go through here. Actually, you know, that's too bright for my taste. I don't want her being too bright now. Actually, you know what? I think I have a. You know, I'll just use this. Look. Look there. I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't look at it, but. Let me fix that. But. Alright, I went over a little. But. But. I may not have finished it, but you know what? I'll keep going until I'm finished. But you know, even though, you know, she won, was happy, other than the fact that, you know, she's about to take off her thing, I realized that, well, actually, no, well, both of us are the same person. We realized she was so happy that she wasn't paying attention, but also we were glad she was happy after what all the things she's been through. She needed that. She needed it more than anything. She needed that happiness. And as no, I'll just stop right. But but you know, as you know, like I said, she's been through a lot. And after all this time, she needs, she needs happy. She needs some form or a semblance of happiness through the madness. So, come to find out, she gets a text that says, "Oh, you and your friends can go to the after party." And she, like I said, she was like, "Yeah." She got First she got a text and she didn't answer it, and then she got a call and they said, "Oh yeah, you guys can go to you and your friends can go there." And she was like, "Okay, cool." Later that night, everybody was ready. They told her she has to wear her she can still wear her thing. And I was like, my girl not gonna wear it. But they insisted, so she wore it. She was happy. Allie and Carl were drinking in the corner, in the cut. Everyone else was dancing. Rumiko was happy, she was just like dancing. She was just dancing there, minding her business. But unfortunately, at that moment, we wanted her to stay that happy forever. But life is not fair. Life is not fair. She is a cruel mistress, as some say. So, because it's a cruel mistress, as Digi's once told me, reality is a cruel mistress, but how can I put trying to make it somewhat awesome? Alright. Basically, she was happy. She was drinking a little bit too. She was dancing. She was dancing with Tomoe. He was happy. He was way too happy for his own good, but everybody else was like, let him be. Let him have his moment. You don't know when he'll ever get this chance again in life. So we let it slide. So they had their night. Little did we know that something of her past would come. One of the things she most feared ever came to pass. Something that she thought she erased. Prior to meeting everyone. But life's not always what we want. Things happen for a reason. In the eyes of some, things happen for a reason. And that's my belief. That things happen for a reason. But for those who have read my webtoon, know that chapter chapter 13 is pretty dark. Really dark. And that is really based off of true events. You know what? I'm gonna stop right here. And I'll finish the rest of it tomorrow. Well, actually, no, Friday. Like I said, Friday. I thought I was gonna finish it, but I'm not. So, see you guys next time. My name is ReveDraws.